President Bola Tinubu says he will find the killers in the Jos attack and bring them to book. He's ordered the installation of cameras and also asked that forest guard be recruited. And leaders of the ADC are accusing INEC and APC for their leadership woes after INEC says it won't recognize David Mark and Adegbeshola as leaders of the party. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Wakimale right here in Abuja. We'll be bringing you some of the top stories as we're following for you tonight, which will make some of them making our conversation tonight. But let me begin in just where we've seen President Bola Tinubu visiting. He visited Jos in Plateau State following the deadly attack in the Jos North local government area that left at least 28 people dead and 22 others injured. The president was accompanied by a senior federal government delegation and was received by Governor Caleb Mutfwang, some government officials, traditional leaders, and heads of security agencies, among others. The visit, which was hosted at the airport in Jos, was aimed at assessing the security situation and demonstrating support for victims in affected communities and the aftermath of the violence. The attack, which sparked widespread outrage and heightened tension, prompted authorities to tighten security measures, including the temporary imposition of a curfew. The president, speaking in one of the halls at the airport there, met with former governors, some of whom spoke and asked that the president should organize a meeting, a closed-door meeting, where the truth can be said about ending the crisis in the state, which has lingered for several years under different government. The president ordered today that forest guards should be recruited to ensure and safeguard all of the gray lines across the border of the state. And also, the president says it will be meeting soonest with some of the leaders of the state. The president has equally ordered the Minister Bosun Tijani for the installation of security cameras to monitor and capture some of these criminals. Take a listen to President Bola Tinubu as well as the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang.
I don't want to be here commiserating and consoling. I want to be here to establish peace. For the victims, let's see what we can do. For their losses, we cannot replace in human beings. But whatever we do to give them minimum comfort, we will. We are going to install immediately a network of cameras that will help the law enforcement agencies to identify the troublemakers instantly.
That's the president earlier today. But Governor Caleb Mutfwang also had a few things to say about the Jos attack and the intervention of President Bola Tinubu.
But one thing that is very clear is that these challenges, which have faced us for close to 3 decades now, Governor Darie faced it, Governor Jang faced it, Governor Lalong faced it, and I have also stepped into it. But one thing, Mr. President, that your leadership has provided, that you have provided us with a new platform to unify our people. I want to promise you, sir, that by God's grace I'll continue to provide the leadership that will rally our leaders and our people together so that we can fight this monster that has given us a bad name.
All right, that's the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang. Equally, traditional rulers and community leaders in the state, or perhaps one of the paramount leaders in Plateau State, the Gongwon Just, was also there and he spoke.
I want to use this opportunity to appeal to Mr. President to still grant us an opportunity to come over. We are aware of the fact that you have a very tight schedule and we will not be able to spell out these challenges in this brief meeting with Your Excellency. And so our appeal, I am speaking on behalf of the Plateau State Council of Chiefs and Emirs and other senior citizens of Plateau State. We will still want to please come over to Abuja to give you briefs on a lot of issues that are bedeviling us.
And that's about the visit of the president to Plateau. The president will then be traveling to Lagos. From there, he's expected to be in Ogun State on Saturday. It's a Friday or Saturday now for the commissioning of the cargo airport and some aircraft, and he will be back in Lagos for the festivities. But we've got some more stories, like the story of the DSS versus Showore and some other stories that we're monitoring for you on our political roundup.
Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja has rejected the bid of the leaders of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in Wuse Ward of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, to bar Senator Ireti Kingibe from participating in all activities of the party following her alleged suspension from the party. The judge rather ordered the ward leaders, said to be loyal to the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, to put the senator on notice to appear in the court to join issues with them on their grievances. In a ruling, Justice Lifu held that the discretion in such a request for prohibition from party activities and in political matters must be exercised judicially and judiciously. The judge said justice will be met in the case of the plaintiffs only when the side of the defendants is heard on its merit along with that of the plaintiffs. Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by politician and online publisher Omoyele Showore against the Department of State Services, its Director General, and Meta Platforms Incorporated. Delivering judgment, Justice Umar resolved that the three issues identified for determination against Showore declined to grant any of the relief sought and proceeded to dismiss the suit for being without merit. Mr. Showore had claimed that the decision by Meta Incorporated, acting on the instruction of the DSS and his DG, took down a post he made about President Bola Tinubu being a criminal and deactivated his Facebook account. Mr. Showore argued that the decision by Meta Incorporated, allegedly acting on the director of the DSS and its DG, to take down his post and deactivate his account without hearing from him, contravened his rights to fair hearing, to freedom of expression, and to associate. The national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Professor Sadiq Gumbe, has assured Nigerians that the party is fully open to all eligible candidates seeking elective offices, including the presidency, ahead of the 2027 general elections. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, Professor Gumbe said the SDP is guided by the principles of justice, fairness, transparency, and social democracy. Gombe, who emphasized that the party's primaries will be free, fair, and credible, confirmed that the two aspirants have formally declared interest in the SDP presidential ticket, but noted that more Nigerians are welcome to participate. Also speaking at the briefing, the National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Rufus Ayenigba, highlighted the surge in killings, bombings, and kidnappings, stressing that Nigerians live in fear while basic services and infrastructure remain inadequate.
There you have it, your political roundup story. So, one of the biggest stories in the land today is about, well, coming from yesterday, the information now that we're getting reaction from the African Democratic Congress and its leaders, led by Senator David Mark. They faulted the interpretation of a recent Court of Appeal ruling by Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in the ongoing leadership dispute within the party. There was a statement earlier released by Mr. Bolaji Abdullah, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, accusing the electoral body of yielding to political pressure. He's alleging that INEC's position was influenced by a government unsettled by the ADC growing influence, despite what it described as sustained efforts to weaken opposition parties and impose a one-party system. The leaders of the party, including some newcomers like Robbie Kwankwanso, the former presidential candidate of the PDP, who is now a leader of the party, Atiku Abubakar, former governors John Oyegun, Liyele Moke, were all gathered at a press conference earlier organized in Abuja, where they said INEC can no longer be trusted. The party national chairman, David Mark, was the one who addressed the press.
INEC does not have the power to determine for any political party who its leaders should be. That decision was taken on July 29th, 2025, not on September 9th. With its press conference yesterday, INEC has invented the status quo that never existed, because there was no time that the African Democratic Congress, ADC, did not have a fully constituted leadership. What INEC has done is to create a situation that by its own curious logic leaves the ADC without leadership. This certainly cannot be the status quo that the Court of Appeal directed should be preserved. It is an INEC invention that is not known to any Nigerian law. There is only one conclusion that Nigerians can draw from the 1st of April 2026 action taken by INEC. The electoral umpire has taken sides. It can no longer be trusted. As a matter of fact, INEC has acted in contempt of the Court of Appeal and has therefore acted unlawfully. My fellow Democrats,
well, as that went on, we understand that some members of the party are taken to the streets earlier today in protest of the decision of INEC when it came out yesterday to say INEC will now stop recognizing Mr. David Mark and Rauf Aregbesola as the chairman and the national secretary of the party going forward, pending the determination of the case in court, where we've seen Mr. Nafiu Bala, who has been in the case. That's probably not the only matter in court, but there's another interest in this matter, and it's that of the presidential candidate of the ADC in 2023, Mr. Dumabi Kachiku, who addressed the press today, and is saying that David Mark and co. have been bought over by the APC to destroy the ADC. Take a listen to him.
This group of mostly ex-political office holders who have held sway over the affairs of Nigeria for the last 40 years or more had attempted to register the ADA and then jumped to the SDP before they gate-crashed the ADC in the middle of the night. How do you explain this? Jumping from political party to political party, no ideology, no belief system, standing for nothing and believing only in the notion that power is their birthright. I regret to inform you that the actions of these men have rendered any political aspiration through the ADC a non-starter. For them to come into the ADC knowing that there's no pathway here for them means that there's a conspiracy between these men and the APC to make a fool of us all.
Well, the APC has fired back at the ADC. And the APC, in a press statement signed by its publicity secretary, Mr. Felix Mokas, said to the ADC that you are the author of your own fate. a party, the APC says yes, the ADC is a party that never was, but by design it was a kamikaze contraption with a follow-come self-destructive detonator. It had to unravel and now unraveling fast by installment when its factional leadership under the jaw of David Mark and Aruf Aregbesola parachuted into the party like thoughtless and planless commandos and hijacked the party in violent violation of its constitutional stipulations regarding leadership succession and in disregard of the law, the rule of law. The ACC set its own date with destiny. Well, we'll be getting some reaction of some perspectives, legal perspectives, and of course an insider perspective to this matter. First, let's get some. What does this mean legally speaking? Of course, I have joining me a lawyer, a political and public affairs analyst, Mr. Liboros Oshoma, who is live for us on the program. Thanks so much, Mr. Oshoma. Legally speaking, is INEC right to have said we will not recognize you? We don't want to be locked in all of your legal and political contraption. We will wait until such a time that the court has made its verdict known in this matter, and therefore we shall return to status quo. Those who are questioning what is status quo, there are those who are saying is what INEC saying right. Now the ADC say we can no longer trust you as the umpire. Can you blame INEC for his decision from yesterday night?
Yeah, thank you very much, Seun. From listening to your preview, the press conference from the ADC leadership, the press conference from my friend and brother Dumebi Kachuku, and then also listening to INEC position yesterday, one will clearly say that all is not well with both the ADC itself. Even though, to answer your question directly, I would say that INEC acted ultra vires the order of the court. It acted outside the order of the court, but it is also clear that all is not well with the ADC. First and foremost, INEC in the first place, what was the status quo that was asked to be maintained by INEC? The status quo that was asked to be maintained by INEC is go back to the position you were before the war. The position you were before the war, was it that there was no leadership in the ADC at all? That's not true. That's not the position before the war. There was a leadership in the ADC, and from the document we have seen, even though these are matters of contention, let's not even go into the documents, because these are issues that are sub judice, that are in court. But so that it doesn't look as if we're arguing, the court argument online. But let's look at it from the everyday perspective. Somebody said, I did not resign. So he went to court to say he did not resign, that he should be recognized consistently as a leader of a party. That's the position. That courts, please hold that I did not resign, that I still remain the leader. What that means is that truly there was indeed a resignation that he is now disputing. So that means there was a leadership in the party, whether a vacuum or that there was he had left and another leadership in place. So when the court now says, well, before we determine that your resignation one way or the other, please maintain the position you were before you came to court. What is the position they were in? The position they were in was that he is saying that he did not resign. The other parties are saying he had resigned. So the position is that he had resigned before he went to court to dispute that resignation. So the position is that INEC ought to have recognized the David Marks faction. I don't know if you hear me, Seun.
Go ahead, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, the position is that INEC ought to have recognized the David Marks faction of
because INEC had said yesterday. Yeah, go ahead.
Saying that they will not recognize. INEC saying that they will not recognize any faction. It's not the order of the court. The order of the court is that recognize the faction that was in leadership before the war. That is, maintain status quo. Go back to the leadership that was in place before the court was approached. And the leadership that was in place by virtue of the court, matter, the leadership that was in place by virtue.
All right. There are definitely a few legal encumbrances right here. And the reason why I called a lawyer who's got knowledge about political issues and some of the maneuverings that often happen in during electionary period here. So now, I know you've blamed INEC, and the explanation of INEC is very long. And there are those who will say, for a moment, can you also be in the shoes of INEC? And I'd like to draw your attention to a few things that INEC has said. Because INEC will say, we were the one who recognized David Mark in the first place. Give us some credit. But look at the circumstances that have pushed us to recognizing or to saying, we will stay away from this matter. And as a lawyer, you know, Mr. Oshoma, INEC received a demand of enforcement, a court document from a Summit Law Chamber representing Nafiu Bala Gombe, requesting the commission to stop recognizing Senator David Mark or Rauf Aregbesola as the national chairman or secretary. On the other hand, INEC said he was in a receipt of a letter from the law firm of Suleiman Usman SN and Co. saying notice of pending proceedings before the Federal High Court and caution against any purported recognition of Nafiu Bala Gombe. So David Mark's side of the divide had a court document from their lawyers on INEC. On the other hand, there is another court document from Nafiu Bala saying you cannot recognize. So INEC is left in between. There are different court papers that have arrived on the table of INEC. And I said, look, we look confused right here. Rather than get enmeshed and trying to have worked against any order of court, let us say away until such that matter is being resolved by a court of law. Can you blame INEC as a lawyer?
Yeah, Seun, once again, like I said, ADC is also without blame. I agree completely that they are not without blame. Because if the ADC had put the house in order, certainly there would be court cases. If they had put their house in order, if they are not going to a crisis, certainly there would be court orders and letters flying left and right. So that also must be said. That what I see here is I think some persons in the ADC were not properly settled, because I don't see a situation where somebody will resign and then turn around to say, I did not resign properly. Maybe that person was not properly settled. The arrangement that was on the table, or the agreement that was reached before his resignation was not executed after the man had resigned. And the man said, well, no, you cannot just push me out, even though you said I should resign and I would be settled this way. And so I also blame the ADC, because it is clear that in their pursuit of power, in their pursuit for an alternative arrangement, they also didn't put their house in order. The belief is that there's this belief that once you are in ADC, everybody in ADC had one mind. Certainly, there are some people who definitely are not satisfied with the internal crisis and would also want to throw spanners in the work. You cannot blame those people also. So those people will look for alternative to work with and ensure that they throw spanners in the work. But what I am saying is that once this order came, INEC had said, yes, we recognize David Mark first. So in that recognition of David Mark, and somebody, after you recognize David Mark and somebody went to court, mind you, the court did not grant an interlocutory injunction or an interlocutory relief against David Mark to say his recognition should be stopped. The court only say look, parties, I cannot grant you that order to restrain Gombe. I also cannot derecognize David Mark, or I cannot recognize him fully. But just go back and maintain the position you were. And so we also have to look at the position they were. What was the position they were? You had recognized David Mark, continue to recognize him until the court decide one way or the other. But for also the ADC, there is need for introspection. There's need for ADC to look inward. Who are those disgruntled elements within the party? What is the problem? How do you resolve? How do you settle them? How do you bring them together? It is not enough to just keep blaming APC, even though we know in Nigeria that once you are in the party in power, you also want to, decimate the opposition. You want to ensure that you are the only one who is going to the election without a credible opposition. You remember during Obasanjo's tenure, Obasanjo fought Atiku, his vice president, because he was interested in 2003 election. At a point, Atiku was a panel of inquiry was even set up that indicted Atiku. During Julius Jonathan's time, Tinubu was charged before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Marilyn Oga, the DSS spokesperson, acted as an arm or extension of the ruling party. And also the tendency for APC to want to look for disgruntled people who are not satisfied to also desecrate and decimate ADC. But it is for the ADC to ensure that those people who are not happy, who are disgruntled, do not even have a place at the table in the party. This was the same crisis that drove them out of the SDP. They saw the crisis, they saw that they were internal wrangling. As you are talking about the case of Gambo, there is also the case of Dumebi, who is also there. Remember, Dumebi Kachuku consistently had been at loggerhead with Ralph Nwosu, that Ralph Nwosu failed to conduct convention for 16 years. I remember talking about this matter in 2022, just before the 2023 general election. Another question you would ask, Shehu, is that these members who went to court, they are not members of the APC. They did not just move into the ADC yesterday. They were in ADC before this new entrant into ADC. So clearly, it means that they were properly not taken care of. It means that they were properly not settled. So while we are blaming INEC, while the ADC is also looking for who to blame, there's need for us as a people, Nigerians, we should learn to take responsibility. The ADC should also look inward and blame itself for putting itself in the place that they find themselves here.
And interestingly, Boros, you know what the APC had said to the ADC, because they had promised them that we will pour Sansan into your gari. Maybe it's this sand now that is in their gari that is now making trouble. But the APC said that the ADC's unwillingness to take responsibility for his miserable failure to follow due process order, its internal affairs and manage his self-inflicted crisis makes ADC grossly unfit as a platform to be taken seriously by Nigerians. Well, let me remove APC because I like not to put APC into the mix of the ADC because I believe that they are very experienced politicians in ADC. The question, and I was asking them this question, I know of 13 different court cases over the leadership of ADC, and I was wondering, is it a good place to go for you to go? It's too dangerous politically. When you have court cases all over Nigeria, in Gombe, Adamawa, Zamfara, Lagos, everywhere on the street of Nigeria, court cases flying left, right, and center, and you are going into an election on that kind of platform. And guess what? There is the document flying around. Whether or not Nafiu Bala, whether or not he resigned, this is what the court has said. Don't forget, Mr. Liboros. And I called you because of the legality of this matter. Because, look, there are those who are very skilled in using the courtroom to fight you. Be careful of those kind of people.
Yes.
And if ADC has found itself in this quagmire, maybe they need to start looking for another platform. And you see the reason why.
It is too late.
Now, you know what?
It is too late.
There is a court of appeal dismissal of Senator David Mark's interlocutory appeal. And there's an issuance of a preservatory order. And in that ruling, the court says status quo antebellum. What is status quo antebellum? Now, Nafiu Bala is saying that if the court has said go back to status quo antebellum, it meant that he was the only existing vice chairman of the party, and naturally, he should be made the chairman of the party. He filed a suit. He was seeking an injunction to restrain the MAC group from parading themselves, dealing or continue to deal with INEC as national chairman. This is purely, yes, it's a political matter, but a legal issue with a lot of technicalities involved. Now, my fear, liberals, is whether or not ADC can be a viable platform with all of this problem. In time, there is going to be primary in May. They're supposed to hold convention this month. Isn't that a legal disaster for that party?
Like I had said, why we blame INEC? If we blame INEC, we should also blame ADC. Why we are blaming INEC for acting as an interested party in the matter? Because when court says maintain status quo, and then rather than maintain status quo, you now say, you know what, I will destroy the existing status quo. I will ensure that I don't even recognize you people. And it is safe. It is very convenient to say, well, I don't want to. INEC is trying to play safe. But the court did not ask INEC to play safe. The court just told parties to maintain status quo. But that said, also, the ADC as a party, Shane, you talked about 13. Some persons have said that there are more than 13 cases already, even before now. There were, there were few cases in court that I remember between the ADC, between Dumebi Kachukwu and the ADC, between Dumebi Kachukwu and Ralph Nwosu, before the defection into the ADC. Those cases were already in existence. So if you say that the APC is using people, didn't you already prepare the ground for the APC to find people to use within your party? I think that the reasons that took them away from the SDP or the reason that took them away from ADA is the same reason they ought to have moved very far from the ADC and moved into maybe the party that Seriati Dixon moved into that is without so many problems. Because we know Nigerian political parties, they all have issues. But you select the one that is with fewer issues. Because knowing fully well that your opponent will always look for more within you, the disgruntled, the dissatisfied within you, to decimate you, to run you out of office, to run you out of town. And the ADC prepared a fertile ground for the APC, if that's all they want to use. They prepared a fertile ground when you have as a party in existence with about 13 or 15 cases in court over leadership tussle. Then you couldn't even settle those leadership tussle. And mind you, apart from that, there are some other persons who are within the party who felt that this party, they had slaved for it, they had consistently worked for it, and other persons just came and took over the leadership, and they were not settled. Those persons will collect settlement from anybody to ensure that they also approach the court. In the days to come, I think ADC, first and foremost, before they can confront INEC and confront the APC, they should first and foremost do an in-house cleaning, an in-house audit of all the cases that are in court and find a way, one way or the other, to resolve them. Unlike the APC in 2014, the APC was an amalgam of different interests and they came together to form a new party altogether. But in this case, it is not the same. And I doubt if they would have been able to form a new party, because with the way INEC is behaving, it would have been impossible. But I think that they ought to have looked for a lesser evil, a party without so many, fractions and problems, that they would have been able to manage their crisis. But that said, I think INEC should recognize the David Mark faction while they are fighting all their battles.
Thanks so much, Liberal Soshoma, for your time and sharing your legal perspective and some wisdom. I'm particularly very pained because what makes the race very interesting is when it's competitive. I mean, not when only one party stands in the middle of the ballot and you're looking for the rest of the political party. But, I mean, when some of us talk, it looks like our mouth is smelling. Yeah, we've been on this ground for a while, and you thought that there are a lot of experienced men in the ADC. They should have seen the devil in some of the issues that have been raised over the past month. But we get one of them talking tonight about the state of the ADC. Particularly, it looks like one of the only hopes of opposition going into 2027. If this hope is dashed, We are doomed, democratically speaking. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get a conversation. Let's move it forward. I'm being joined by one of the chieftains of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Mr. Oladimeji Fabi. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Shehu. It's good to see you.
Yeah, the APC said your party is the architect of his own woes. Why are you blaming the APC for your problem when these are internal issues? And I said there are a lot of experienced politicians in the ADC. Why did you allow this on yourself?
Shehu, thank you very much. Really, we didn't allow it on ourselves because the birth of ADC, was greeted with all sense of due diligence before we embark on this journey. The original ADC under Rafun met the leadership who were proposing coalition at that time, and every legal requirement and anything you can call requirement were met. So we didn't put this on ourselves. And let me tell you, the APC that said we had the problem we had reactions of our own problem, I think they are being economical with the truth. Because we know we don't even need to prove anything. Let me put it this way. Before President Tinubu came into power, we had a president, Muhammadu Buhari, who equally spent 8 years. May his soul rest. During that time, did we witness what we are witnessing against the opposition today? No. So everybody will be right to say that APC is clear, it's everywhere, it's glaring that they were the reason for all of this onslaught, assault on the opposition parties. It is obvious. We made noise about it. We shouted on top of our voices that these guys wanted a one-party state. Nobody believed us. This guy wanted only President Tinubu to run, to be on the ballot in 2027. Nobody believed, but it's clear now. Let me tell you, when you are digging a hole for your enemy, be careful. Don't dig it too deep because you may end up being in that hole. That's what has happened to APC. So when they defending, they say they are responsible for everything. What happened to the PDP? We knew, it's there in the public. What happened to Labour Party? What happened to NMPP? Everybody, can all of these people be wrong that APC, you are the architect of Nigerian political problem, democratic problem. So we don't have anything to prove. Everybody knows where they are coming from. So they should go and tell those to the markets.
Let's talk about the Nafi Ubala matter, and it's gone to court. And there is a counter from the David Mark side of the divide saying, "Look, don't mind him. These are the issues." But like I said, we are looking at the law and the encumbrances here, right here. We do not want to get ourselves in trouble about this matter. So we are going to stay away without recognizing you or anybody else until that matter is rested in court or decided by the court.
INEC aired, and they've exhibited a lot of bias and compromise. I just listened to the guest before me. He's a lawyer. You can hear what he said. He placed it on the table, and that settles it. And when this matter came up yesterday, I spoke to an SAN who said, no, that Amukwito should have known better. A professor of law, SAN of many years of standing, he should have gone through this route. And you can hear the guy that just left now, like Boros Oshoma, a very sound lawyer. You could see his analysis, even though he didn't want to go into the detail of it so that it won't be subjudicial. So you can see what, you can hear him, you can hear what everybody is saying. Now, Today, I'm sure if I were APC, I would go back to my shell and be crying because they have failed. They have made many attempts. They have put many obstacles on the ways of all the opposition, especially the ADC. They are done with PDP. They are done with Labour. They felt AD is his nest. But they have failed with this. They've tried. When APC came, they said it won't last for 3 months. How many months have we been here now? They should go and tell that to their members who don't even know, who don't even identify between A and B. We know what we stand for. We know what we want. We know what we are doing. And we are going to come out of this clean. Let me give you the analogy. Let me give you this simple analogy that comes to my head right now when you talk about what INEC did, because I don't want to talk about Nafi Ubala. Now, it's like when a child is born on July 29th, and the birth certificate was issued on September 2nd. September 9. Did anybody argue that that child was born before? Was born before? Nobody argues that that child was born before September 9. Nobody claimed that the legal lesson of that child before the print of certificate was illegal. Did anybody say that? So it means that INEC make that mistake, and they have time to own up and correct what they have done, the injustice, the illegality they have committed against ADC. They should do that now. It's important they do that for the sake of our democracy, for the sake of Nigeria.
Did you see the statement and the literature that INEC released, the premise, and they gave the timelines, they gave the premise upon which they took their action? Did you read the literature?
I read it, but is INEC the court? Why did they go back to court and get a judge or another that will say stop David Mark from being the leader? Is there any judgment? Is there any court order to that effect?
There was an order saying
that what?
And there were counter orders. Order from Nafi Balal, and there is.
Shion, just answer, please. I want to see that order that says INEC stop recognizing or stop David Mark and Aregbesola from parading themselves as national chairman and secretary. These are the two people that own the party as far as INEC is concerned. Where is that order that INEC is acting upon? They should tell us.
So the question...
Why can't they ask Nafi or whoever to go back to court and get that order? Why would they have to take side? They took side in this matter.
But the question...
And that's exactly what
Mr. Fabi, just let me put a question in. The big question here is that there is a court document coming from Nafi Bala. There is a court document coming from Senator David Mark. And the question is that INEC is in the middle. And they say, look, we have been caught in the middle.
That is wrong.
And we don't want to be to seem to be obstructing justice. Rather than get in the way of taking side, we're going to stay away from recognizing anyone who stop putting your name up or recognizing you until the matter is rested and decided by the courts.
INEC acted ultra virus, as the guy that just left, the lawyer that just left mentioned. They don't have the right to do that. They should have, INEC is established by law, they should have requested, should have asked. Is your party they should have requested all
is your party, just a moment, is your party attempting to go to the court to enforce its right?
If it's necessary, we do it.
But were you at the press conference today?
I was there, and the press conference was very clear. What the national chairman said was very clear.
That your party can no longer trust INEC.
We can no longer trust them. And again, let me tell you, we are not going to obey anything that is unlawful from INEC. We'll go ahead with our congresses. We'll go ahead with they should tell us the law that say they have to be there and preside. It's just to come and to notify them, and we have done that. We are not going to do that. See, INEC working with the APC has shown to the entire country with this thing they have done, with what this action, that they are not to be trusted. They've lost all the confidence of Nigerians before. Now they are coming up with something now that is very ridiculous, revalidation of voters. Do you know what that means? Because they want to clean out some people, especially in Lagos and some populated area where they feel threatened. That's what they want to do. Nigerians should never get into it. We will tell our members not to get into it. That revalidation exercise is a scam to delete your name from the system because they know they can't win it. And they're working in line with APC. So we'll never allow that to happen.
All right, give me a moment. Let's take another break. But when we come back, what will ADC do in the light of this new development from INEC? And the fact remains that the time is no longer on the side of any political party. If anything will be done, that will be now. We'll be right back. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Oladimeji Fabi is a chieftain of the ADC and has been speaking with us. So, in this final stretch, we're looking at the options now left to the ADC. And a lot of your members will now be very worried about how things are panning out. Very slim chance for your
Nigerians
party.
Are worried. Nigerians are not just members of our party.
Should be worried.
Nigerians, everybody should be worried with what we are witnessing in our democracy. When we have a leadership that wants to turn the entire democratic process that brought them into power upside down. Nigerians are worried. Everybody should be worried, and that's what we're saying. And the party today made it emphatically clear what we wanted. We don't have trust in you again. Mr. Chairman of INEC, resign your position because we don't trust you anymore. When they push confusion, we push clarity. That's exactly what we're doing here. They are pushing confusion everywhere, and it's to push clarity, and that's exactly what we're doing. Why are they treating the upload as if it were when the David Mark came into the system? There were events that led to that. So why was INEC trying to be funny about that?
But we understand that this coalition was actually planning a new party like ADA. What happened to that idea?
We should ask INEC. INEC didn't register. How many parties did INEC refuse to register? Yes, INEC did not register new parties. They only registered to few months ago. See, all of these are broader plans.
Does the coalition have a plan B? Because I mean, this cannot be your only plan. If you know that
the people, the leadership in the ADC understands the enormity of what they were doing. They know who they are dealing with. They've been friends at some point. Their political lives have crossed at some point. They know who they are dealing with, so they are on top of the game. Don't miss what about that. We know what we are doing. We know what they are doing. We also know what we're doing, and that's exactly why we are telling Nigerians that this is an opportunity for you to rise up and defend your democratic rights. It's about being taken away from you, your future, your freedom. Democracy guarantees freedom, quality freedom. Freedom of association, of participation, and all that. If those freedoms are taken away from you, then your qualitative democratic rights have been taken away from you. That's what we are telling them, and they must not allow that to happen.
Mr. Fabi, you are someone who has worked with Atiku Abubakar for several years, and in most of your political journey, you can almost close your eyes and write the story of Atiku Abubakar wanting to become president, and there are those who will say he's at the forefront of this coalition, and there are those who will think that for someone like that, it can never be naive. He must have seen that this happened. And for someone like Atiku Abubakar, he's been friends with Bola Tinubu and the rest of them.
I just said
John Oyegun has been in the APC.
They know the president.
Rauf Aregbesola is probably one of the closest persons to President Bola Tinubu. He cannot say that they cannot see this coming.
You know, sometimes
this cannot be the only plan. Is there a plan B?
B, C, D. I won't say more than that. Just watch out, Shion.
Yeah, because the danger for some of us who are die hard on the issue of democratic values and the interests of the Nigerian people. If there is a popularity, get it tested. Let the people tell us the true state of things.
Thank you.
If you are not wanted, democratically, let people choose who they want. But when we're going like this, the question, the blame I will have, if I were, and I'm asking myself, I mean, you keep blaming the ruling party. If I was in the ruling party, would I have done similar things to decimate the opposition? They said just remember, they said the opposition threatened them first, that you wanted to pour sand in their gari. Now they are pouring the sand in your gari. Shouldn't you have planned ahead? That when the sand is coming, you have something to stay afloat.
We are two presidents before President Bola Tinubu. We are President Goodluck Jonathan. If President Goodluck Jonathan has done half of what the current president is doing, APC or ACN wouldn't have been in existence today. If President Buhari has done the way they have done, we won't be talking about PDP or anything today. President Buhari let everybody play their own, freely do your thing. Why is Mr. If you believe you have done so well, fantastically well for Nigerians, why are you afraid? You have captured judiciary, you have captured National Assembly, you have captured the security institutions, you have captured the INEC, the umpire, and you see them misbehaving. You have captured some governors. Why are you scared? Why are you afraid? Why can't you give Nigeria a free and fair election? What is the issue? Tell us. If you feel you have done so well, you have the governors, you have everything, then what is the problem? This is the question we ask. This is what the question we want Nigeria to start asking them. Why do they want to stifle, kill the opposition? Any democracy without a viable opposition is not a democracy. Democracy dies. And we don't want the democracy to die.
In political war, they say all is fair in war. But then not at the detriment of our democracy.
Thank you very much, Fabi.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you for all you do for our country and for that land.
Thank you so much. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.